All right, welcome back. For our 9th week, we're really going to delve into the heart of Scheller's ethics. We'll be exploring what I like to call Scheller's ladder of connection. It's his framework for understanding how we actually connect with the emotional lives of other people. Now, this is a truly foundational piece for anyone who wants to use phenomenology to do ethics. So let's get right into it.
So this is really what's at stake here. It lies at the absolute heart of ethics. And as you'll probably recall from our previous discussions on the moderns, philosophy has for centuries been deeply, deeply suspicious of letting our feelings guide our moral compass. Scheller is going to challenge that entire tradition head-on.
Over the next few minutes, we're going to unpack Scheller's very, very precise distinctions. We're going to explore this crucial difference between, on the one hand, being involuntarily infected by an emotion, which he sees as a pre-moral kind of thing, and on the other, the profound moral act of genuinely sympathizing with another person. For Scheller, this distinction is everything. It's the key to a phenomenological ethics. Okay, let's dive into this. To really get a handle on Scheller's contribution, and to see why it was so revolutionary for its time, we first have to understand the philosophical problem he was trying to solve. You see, he wasn't writing in a vacuum. He was responding directly to a long and powerful tradition.
And here he is. Here is the main antagonist in Scheller's story, Immanuel Kant. For hugely influential modern thinkers like Kant, emotions were considered pathological, unreliable, subjective ruptures of objectivity. They were seen as something almost like a disease, right? Something that couldn't possibly ground a universal ethics based on pure reason.
So Scheller's project was truly groundbreaking. His challenge was to show that the emotional sphere isn't just chaos, that it has its own logic, its own kind of cognitive order, and that it can provide objective moral insights. This is a direct, point-by-point refutation of the formal, duty-based ethics of Kant that we've already spent some time on.
Now, let's turn to the ladder itself. We're going to start at the bottom, with the most primitive form of emotional transference. Scheller gives this phenomenon a specific German term, and really understanding it is a crucial first step.
This is what he calls emotional contagion, or in German, Gefühlsansteckung. I want you to think of it literally as a feeling infection. It's a process where you are, quite literally, infected by a mood, often without any conscious awareness that it's even happening.
And you've all experienced this, I'm absolutely sure of it. You walk into a party that's just buzzing with energy, and you immediately feel more cheerful yourself. A child starts laughing uncontrollably, and pretty soon everyone in the room is laughing along. Or, on a more dangerous note, you see panic just ripple through a crowd. This is Gefühlsansteckung at work.
Now here's the critical point for Scheller, and I really want you to focus on this. In contagion, the other person's emotion becomes your own. The boundary between you and them completely dissolves. You're not feeling for them, you're simply feeling what they feel. And this is precisely why Scheller considers it a non-ethical, automatic process. It's more like a biological reflex than a moral act.
Okay, let's take a significant step up the ladder. We're moving now from a purely reactive state to a properly cognitive act. This is one that requires a completely different kind of intentionality, and this is where we start to see the person as a person.
Scheller calls this level Nachfühlen. Now, the English translation is often empathy, but the German is actually a bit more precise. It means something like to re-feel or to feel after. It's the ability to cognitively grasp or to understand what another person is feeling, without necessarily feeling it yourself.
And this brings us to a core phenomenological insight. Scheller argues, pretty vehemently, against the old analogy theory. The idea that we see a body and then just infer that there's a mind hidden inside. He says no, we have a direct, perceptual grasp of their emotional life as it's embodied in their expressions. We don't infer shame from a blush, we perceive the shame in the blush itself.
So the crucial point is this. For Scheller, empathy is about understanding the other's emotion, not sharing it. The distance between self and other is preserved. You can remain completely neutral, even cold, while still accurately grasping what someone else is going through. Think about it. A skilled psychologist or even a very manipulative person might have excellent empathy in this specific sense.
And now, we arrive at the top of the ladder. This is the highest level. This is where genuine moral connection, and for Scheller, a truly ethical act, finally becomes possible. This is sympathy, or Mitgefühl, which literally translates to feeling with. See, it's not just understanding another state, it is an active, intentional emotional response that is directed at the other person's experience.
And this, right here, brilliantly illustrates the whole structure. True sympathy requires empathy as a precondition. You have to first understand that your friend is grieving, then you respond with your own feeling of sadness for them. Your sadness is a response to their sadness. You haven't just caught it. The distinction between you and them is maintained. And in that intentional act of caring, Schiller sees a moment of love.
So, this table provides an excellent summary of Shaler's taxonomy. It really maps our journey right up the ladder, moving from that automatic, non-ethical process of contagion through the cognitive prerequisite of empathy, and finally to the truly ethical and intentional act of sympathy. It's a remarkably clear and useful framework.
Now for the payoff. All of this careful distinction making, it isn't just about individual psychology. Shaler uses this very ladder to build a powerful philosophical sociology that addresses the very fabric of our social world.
As this slide outlines, Scheller argues that each level of emotional connection corresponds to a different type of social formation. So at the bottom, emotional contagion binds together the mass or the crowd, a group characterized by a lack of self-awareness. Then, in the middle, that detached analogical reasoning forms the basis of a society or an association, kind of an artificial unity of self-interested individuals. But for Scheller, a true community, that's built on something more.
And this is the crucial point. An authentic human community, what he calls Gemeinschaft, built on trust and solidarity, is only possible through sympathy. It's the ethical bedrock not just for how individuals should act towards each other, but for how a genuine community can even exist at all. This is the ultimate sociological implication of his ethics of feeling.
And this quote just brilliantly illustrates why empathy and sympathy are so vital for his project. We apprehend another person not as a static object, right, but as a dynamic center of experience, a being that exists in and through their acts. Sympathy is an act that acknowledges and respects that dynamic personhood. And that leaves us with a provocative thought to end on. Shaler's analysis suggests that the greatest, most ethical connection requires not a fusion, not a merging of two selves, but a profound and loving respect for the separateness of the other. So I want you to consider what that implies for our modern ideals of connection.